Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial by your teacher, Mr. Eusebio. Today we're going to look at a program called Adobe Photoshop, which is something a lot of you are familiar with already. To access Photoshop, you'll find it on your desktop. It should have a blue icon. Double click on it, and it should load up for you. Photoshop is a image manipulation program or pixel-based image manipulation tool, and it can do so many different things for us. Today I wanted to go over some of the basic things that I want you to look at when using Photoshop and understanding what all these different things around here do. First off, up here at the very top you'll find menu-based information: file, edit, image, layer, select, filter, analysis, and so forth. These are all very, very important to access when you're working with your photos and your files. Just keep in mind that they are there at the very top. On the left-hand side are your toolbars, or the tools that you have available for you to use. A really important one is the Move tool. Now, this is a tool that you were using a lot in Adobe Premiere Pro. If you wanted to get back, if you use a different tool and you wanted to get back to your selection tool or your Move tool, you just hit the shortcut key V. It's the same shortcut key you use in Adobe Premiere Pro. If you had the opportunity to make a text in your Adobe Premiere Pro file, you also have a text tool here. So a lot of these tools are kind of similar in different applications. Secondly, on the right-hand side over here, you have your layers, channels, and paths. We're really only going to focus on layers for now, and it works the same way as the videos you were creating in Adobe Premiere Pro. Videos are layered as like video 1, video 2, video 3. With layers in Photoshop, it's the same thing. Things are built on top of each other to create a layer. So to get started, I'm going to click on File, New. I'm going to give my file a name. I'll just say banner, and then I'm going to put my name, Danny. Right? And there's a default Photoshop size, and you can select these different sizes. Like US paper is basically like a blank white sheet of paper. I'm just going to stick with default Photoshop size. And my background contents right here, I'm going to select transparent. Okay? And everything else you can leave alone, and now I'll just click OK. Then Photoshop will open up a file for me. So I do want you to be doing this at the same time that I'm working on this. Down here at the very bottom left is the ability to zoom into your image. So right now it's at 100%, and it's too small, so I'm going to change it to 200. So to do that, you just highlight the numbers and you just type in a new number to change the size. Let's take a closer look at this image. I'm going to zoom in. Can you see the little tiny squares in the actual image, in the actual file? Excuse me. Those are the actual pixels. Okay, and that's the reason why Photoshop really focuses on pixel manipulation. And we'll talk about why that's different from vector-based programs. So creating this new file, I have a new layer right here on the right-hand side, right down here. If you want to create a new layer, for example, I want to add a box onto my layer. So I'm going to select new layer down here. The very bottom right says create a new layer. So I'm going to label, so right now I have two different layers. I'm going to rename the first one, layer 1. I'm going to call this background. Okay. And then the top one I'm going to layer text, T-E-X-T. So the background, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rectangle tool over here, and if you hold your left mouse button, you'll see that there's other options. It's not only a rectangle tool, but it's also an ellipse tool, a polygon tool, a line tool, or a custom shape tool. There's other ways to use it. So when you select that tool, you can already start to make a shape. If you hold the left mouse button down, you'll be able to produce a shape. So here's our shape. And again, when you made this shape, you might say, well, how do I move it around? Well, you go back to your Move tool. You can either click this or hit the keyboard shortcut V, and you can start moving this around. But you have to make sure that you are selecting the correct layer. Now let's click on the top layer, Text. In this layer, I'm going to select the Text tool, which is right here, big letter T, right? If you hold that, you can write in different ways. You can write horizontally, or you can write vertically, however you want to use it. So when you click on that, and I'm on my new layer, I'm going to click in this white space here, and I'm going to type in Wasco High. And you notice that there's nothing showing up. And the reason for that is because our color is set to white, right? Our color here. So you can change the color up here. So we got to highlight the text that we can't see. Click up here, and we're going to change that to red for right now so we can see it. And then we're going to go back to our Move tool, and we're going to go to this a lot, so just learn the hotkey for that is V. Whoops. Or just click on it, and then you can move that. But let's say I want to move the white background. It won't move. I can only move the Text tool. Make sure that you've selected the background, and then you can only move that one. Okay, so that's so far the basics. Let's create another layer. And then let's call this layer Image. And let's go to the internet and just find an image of a tiger or something. Okay. Let's click on this one. I will right click on it, copy image. Okay. And then when you're in Photoshop, you want to paste that image into your thing that you're working on. So you're going to go to Edit. Make sure you're on your new layer. Edit, paste, or hit Control V, and it should paste our image. Now you're going to notice this photo, if we zoom out, is really big. I mean, take a look. It's bigger than the actual box that we have. So what can we do? Photoshop is a little tricky sometimes. Nothing is really straightforward. You have to practice a lot with it. But if you're on this image layer and you click on Edit, you go to Transform and you select Scale, these boxes will appear around the sides. And this will allow you to manipulate the size of the image. But you don't want to just drag the image one way. It's going to cause it to deform. You don't want that. So let's go back to that. If it'll work. So let's do that again. Edit. So think about it. You want to edit the image. So we're going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale. Right? Scale. If you don't want to screw up the aspect ratio, which is this, you hold the Shift key down and you move this inward, okay, from left and right, and it'll keep the perspective correct on your image. Okay. Let's keep shrinking it down more. There we go. So there we go. We have a picture, we have a white background, and we have Wasco High. We're not even done yet. So we have the photo set up. You still have to click on this check mark up here to confirm what you've done. So click that check mark, and now it's set up. Now you have your image, you have your text layer, and you have your background layer. Now here's the fun thing about layers. Remember, layers are sandwiched on top of each other. So let's say, for example, I want the white background to go in front of the tiger. So I can move the background layer by clicking on it and dragging it up to the very top. Then you notice that the white layer is at the very top of this. Maybe you don't want that, so let's drag that background layer down one line and drag it down again. So that's the basic premise of using the layout here. Once you're done, let's say you're done with the photos, you're going to click File, Save As. Okay, so once you're done, hit File, Save As, and you're going to locate a folder in V storage for video. You're going to go to 2013, 2014 Wasco Video Production. You're going to select your period that you're in, and then you're going to have a name somewhere here. I'm just going to add my name. Open up that file, and I'm going to save it as bannerdanny.psd. PSD is a Photoshop file. I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to click OK for compatibility, and I'm done. That's my image. So if I close this file, I'm going to go back to File, Open, and locate my folder, period 1, whichever period you're in, locate your name, and then open up your file. And all the stuff you've worked on will still be there. Okay, so that's the basics of this program. That's just some of the basic ideas that I want you to explore with this.